let me share with you what happens if, when you ask your potential client what injuries they suffered because of the wrongdoing, and they turn around and start to tell you, oh, I have mental and emotional damage. I have mental problems. The moment you begin to hear that the patient has mental problems, emotional trauma, without any other physical injury, I'm going to give you a strategic tip right now that will save you countless hours of aggravation and hassle. And the answer is, you should run as fast as possible away from this individual. And the reason I say that is because historically, folks who come in claiming that they have emotional trauma tend to have a lot of emotional baggage. And you can be sure that this will be a drama-filled client, somebody who will aggravate you till no end. Okay? And I say that from experience. And that's the considered opinion of many experienced trial attorneys here in New York. But that is not to say that their injuries are not valid. They may have a valid basis for a case. In fact, the wrongdoing may have caused them horrible, horrible trauma. But the real problem comes in when we now try and identify what the injury, what harm the injury caused. We have to filter out what problems they have now, separate and apart from what problems they had in the past. And if they have a history of psychiatric problems, you can imagine the records that are going to have to be examined. And even if they were hospitalized or institutionalized, there is still a whole history that goes on that you are opening a whole Pandora's box that is going to be the bane of your existence. It is something I highly recommend staying away from. Now, there is one real exception here. And the exception involves someone who commits suicide. There are instances where a patient will be in a hospital, for example, and have suicidal tendencies. And the doctors in the hospital turn around and say, okay, you're now treated and cured. We're going to send you home. A day later, 2 days later, next thing you know, they commit suicide. We can now look back and see and make the evaluation whether or not this patient should have been released at that time, or whether there were warning signs, whether there were indications that this patient had an ongoing psychiatric problem that required further treatment, further diagnosis, further hospitalization. And in some instances, we are then able to show that the hospital or the medical caregiver improperly released and untimely released the patient, thereby causing and leading to the ultimate death of this person. So in those scenarios, those can be good cases. However, if the client tells you that they only have psychological problems without any additional physical injury, my suggestion is, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much, but I'm sorry I can't help you. Now, what do you do in a situation where you've now told somebody, hey, I'm sorry I can't help you? Do you simply just say, have a good day? The answer is no. Remember, you as the attorney have now probed. You've learned a little bit about them. You may even have offered them some information and given them some legal advice about what the time limit is for their matter. What do you do? What is your obligation for someone who you are now saying, goodbye, I can't help you? You are obligated to send them a letter declining their matter. You have to send them a non-engagement letter. And the law in New York requires that you do it by sending them a regular mail letter together with a certified mail copy, return receipt requested. And in it, you must include two very important things. Mrs. Jones, I'm so sorry I'm not able to help you. I'm not making any judgment call about whether or not you have a valid basis for a case. And that's why I highly recommend that you consult with another attorney immediately. Because this way it tells Mrs. Jones, hey, you may not be the be-all and end-all of these types of cases. I want you still to see another attorney just to get another opinion. And by doing that, you will protect yourself forever. And you put that in the file and you leave it alone.